All right. So I'm going to start. So my name is Ria Brathwaite. Welcome. Good morning. And you are here because We Will has invited you. And what is We Will? So We Will is Women Empowering Women in Lifelong Leadership, right? And I am the co-founder, chairwoman of this initiative. What do we do? So we aim to empower and unify women through engagement, support, mentoring, and guidance to reach their full potential in their professional and personal development. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of what we have done. We were created about a year and a half ago. We've had an in-person launch event where we had about 30 women who were talking about the struggles that women face in the workplace and as entrepreneurs. And we were able to do a survey to determine what the needs of women were, right? After that, we've had quite a few initiatives. We received a donation from the IDB Family Association, a very generous donation. And together with COESL, another NGO, we were able to distribute 30 care packages with food and hygiene items to several people, to 30 families, women-led NGO, women-led families. And we have also had another event, a webinar called the Diplomats Roundtable, where we explore journeys in diplomacy. We're able to talk about how to become a diplomat. Now, the main reason why we are here is because of the Coping with COVID series. So when COVID hit, a difficult time, and we wanted to provide support to our community. So first of all, we had Dollars and Cents, which was an event on financial and mental health. So we're talking about how people could save, how people could use their money during this time in order to ensure their sustenance. And also we were helping people to cope with this new reality. Taking the Pulse was another event that we had where we kind of saw where people were at, and we wanted to provide resources. So we sent people information on jobs, grants, financial information, like where they can get support from the government, and training opportunities, anything to help them to move forward during this difficult time. So today, we are going to be talking about entrepreneurship. The name of this event is Women Entrepreneurs Launching Towards Success. And the aim of the event is to create a space for women to explore topics related to developing and progressing in entrepreneurial pursuits through engagement with peers. It is providing a platform for women entrepreneurs to share their experiences around the keys to business continuity, which could include the ways they have identified new opportunities in a changing landscape. So this is the launch of the Caribbean Entrepreneurship Week, right, which starts next week. And the theme for this Caribbean Entrepreneurship Week is business continuity during and beyond COVID-19. It's a prelude to the Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is starting mid-November. So just a few little keys. First of all, we are going to be recording this session. We're going to have 3 persons speaking, and our moderator, Marcia, will tell you a little bit more about them. And after that, we're going to be having a Q&A session. So a little bit about Marcia, who will pop up on your screen just now. She's a person who I admire. She has over 20 years of experience working with people, helping them to develop their businesses. She's a director of We Will. We're fortunate enough to have her as a director with us, but she's also a chief entrepreneurship expert at the Caribbean Center for Excellence for Sustainable Livelihoods, COESL. So, without further ado, I'm passing the virtual mic on to Marcia, who will tell you a little bit more about the people who are speaking to us today. Thank you.
Good morning to you.
Good
Good morning.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning
Good
to you.
morning. Morning.
Ladies, good morning.
Hey.
If we have any gents in the room, good morning to you too. Um, we're happy to have you with us this morning as we have three very accomplished female entrepreneurs, ladypreneurs, who are going to share with us this morning what their experiences have been in business, but especially and during COVID times. Yeah, I was going to say beyond, but of course we're
It's
still
still
going through
going.
COVID times. So it's during COVID times. We know that from the experiences I've been having with female entrepreneurs during these times, we know that they have had to really. A lot of people are calling it pivoting. That's a new word. Some people I call it change. And maybe other people will call it wheel and come again. We have really had to change how we're doing things. And as we look at the pandemic, I know that many female entrepreneurs are juggling more than they normally do. They're now homeschooling. They're now buying things online. They're delivering things online. So they've had to really reinvent their mindset towards this new pandemic. And they've taken on multiple roles in terms of looking after the home. That has become even more because many entrepreneurs are working from home still. And so they never leave home to go to work and come back home. So everything is in the home. And right now, mental health issues are also very becoming more prevalent than before. What are some of the people who are out there doing research saying? In the Caribbean, they're saying at least 50% of Caribbean female entrepreneurs have been severely impacted. They have lost over 60% of their business. And we know this is true because we know many people are catering to the tourist industry, and that's one of our main industries. Many people are in service, and countries like Jamaica that are still on lockdown, like really on lockdown because their cases have tripled in no time at all. The all ladypreneurs there are really suffering. And domestic violence has increased. So ladies, this morning, we really want to hear your experiences because I know there are people on the chat who may want to start their own businesses or who may also be experiencing similar challenges, but have found solutions. And that's the emphasis right here, finding the solutions to go forward, because we're not accepting, as the Economic Forum said, women have 257 years to get equity with men. 257 years. That was before the pandemic. Can you imagine what has happened now with the pandemic? So we're not accepting that, ladies. We are finding solutions to make sure that we're going forward. So I want to introduce to you, for first and foremost, Dr. Simone McConnie. At least entrepreneurs, I can tell you, have been entrepreneurs supported from COESL. And Dr. McConnie was motivated to be a podiatrist as an opportunity to enter a field with a new scope, adding a new dimension of treatment to her country. Part of that included the ability to help diabetic feet. Trained in the UK, she has been working in Barbados since 1994. She holds a degree in podiatric medicine and earned her MBA from Durham University in 2011. Her main clinical interest is diabetes and sports. Her love for the diabetic foot grew after her training at the Diabetic Foot Clinic at King's College Hospital, London. This paved the way for her to become intimately involved in various projects related to promotion, education, and change in diabetics care. While pioneering a new profession in Barbados, she never lost focus on diabetes and collaborates with working groups internationally and locally. She's a founding member and past trustee at the Diabetics Foundation in Barbados, and she helped to establish the first diabetic foot clinic there. Along with her leadership position in professional and charity organization, she's the founder and managing chief podiatrist, at Comfeet Foot Care Clinic, which is an evolving clinical podiatry practice, also offering accessories and orthopedic footwear to address the needs of those with foot problems or those who seek comfortable footwear. And, you know, I still need to come to you, Simone, but anyway, that's a whole nother matter. With no further ado, I will invite Dr. McConnie to make her presentation.
Hi, good morning and welcome everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here. This is really awesome. There's so much that I can say in this very short time, but based on the topic at hand, one of the things that I actually did not, and I have a couple of slides that I prepared, and I will share my screen in a minute, but one of the great things about COVID-19 is that it has taught me to diversify. So basically, being a podiatrist, I remember when I first came back, no one even knew what that was. And now they do. So there was I used to do lots of education at the time. And I just find that now that COVID-19 has hit, I've reverted back to that level of education, but on a different level. So I'm using social media more than I've ever done before, more from an educational perspective. There are people at home trying to exercise, trying to maintain their weight, trying to do walking in open spaces, but without the right footwear, trying to do some DIY foot care because they're scared to come out. And of course, I do see a lot of the elderly who obviously they're very high risk during this time. So you try to do some hand holding, but another diversification I've had to do would be to never just sit on your kind of just go, okay, well, COVID's here and struggle to think, but take the problem and turn it into a solution. So when COVID struck, for me, my peers internationally were pushing us to do online counseling and speaking to patients and treating patients like how we are here now. And that's not something I can do. It really is not. So I kept my ears to I can give advice, but if you have an ingrown toenail that's, sorry for the words, but pussing and oozing, there's no way, there's not a lot I can tell you. I actually need to physically touch you. So, and then there was a PPE challenge where we couldn't get access. So I didn't just throw my hands up in the air. I kind of just found sources to import my own. I found ways of getting out back into the clinic. So during this time, I'm just gonna quickly go to my screen. Are y'all gonna, do you share screen? Yeah. The host has to help me share that screen, I'm afraid.
I think you just need to make her co-host and then.
And without any saving of time while you're doing that, you can let me know when it's done. So one of the things I then started to do was also do mini videos for patients of things like changing dressings, etc. So I did videos and sent them to them. My WhatsApp, so I changed my telephone number, my message in the office, so I made sure that they always had contact with me. And I know that a lot of my peers didn't do any of this, but my thing was I couldn't just stop my livelihood. I had to find a way. I spoke to the bankers about doing direct banking. So what will happen is patients will pay me first directly, and then I can consult with them and send them their videos, etc. And I would say that this is a great time to also do some extra education. So you will see that I'm a podiatrist, but then I have my MBA. And I have to say that has to have been one of the most valuable things that I did. I am married to an accountant, and I used to go to him for advice, and he just never saw my side of the picture because I'm a little bit more creative. I'm a little bit more risk taker. And I thought, you know what, I need to do this myself. So I went and I did my MBA. And that, I think, is what's helped pull me through COVID as well, with just being able to think about the diversities of what's happening, the challenges are what's happening. And one of the things you do when you're doing a master's is there's always a solution, though. There's always a solution. So we always have to find a way to make it work. So what has come out of this is that I've seen that my patients are a lot more malleable than I thought they were before, because I can walk them through processes and they can actually get it done if they really had to.
Simone, sorry to interrupt you, just letting you know that you should be able to present now. You can check.
Okay. So screen's up. Share screen. Can you see that? So my thing was to just keep well informed as well, because you don't want to be breaking the laws and the rules. So one of the things I did was I educated myself and stayed on the front line of everything that was happening. And I took myself into so when we were in stage 4, I was in stage 3. When we were in stage, when we got to stage 3, I was already in stage 2. I started to because you knew that it was coming, because internationally things got worse. They never got better. So when we then went full into lockdown, I had already started to prepare myself for that lockdown phase. And I actually shut the office before most people had shut their offices. And I had then set up my staff as well, where they had a cell phone and they helped me with the communication to my patients, etc. And I talked about the PPE, etc. And as soon as there was a moment to get back out, this was a state of emergency passes that were issued in Barbados, where if you had a pass, you had permission to be on the road. And I got one for myself and my staff. And then I think about 2 months later, a month later, I then had my other peers asking, well, how do you go about doing it? But all I did was just kept my ears to the laws of the land and just be on everything. It means you're busy, but you just keep the newspaper, everything being current. And then once I opened back up, I made sure that I didn't only protect myself, but I protected the staff that were coming in. So we have social distancing, hand washing, face masks, and I have changed the whole way in which I operate. I've now decided I'm going to be on a small weight loss system. I eat my breakfast at 6:30 in the morning, and I fast until 3 because taking all the PPE off and having to wash hands and start all over again. But what it's meant is every day I have had to diversify. I have had to change. Every moment, it has always been a change. So although I would say the way I'm operating now is not how I operated when I first started back in clinic. And I've had to help to put cues for patients. So some patients came in without masks. I helped, and that was the other thing, helping each other. So I knew some of my colleagues who are entrepreneurs, they make face masks. So I said to them, well, would you want to put some of your face masks in my office so that while patients come in and they don't have a mask, they can buy one of your masks? So things like that, where we kind of help hold each other along as well. With the shoe sales and shoe footwear, I now don't just bring footwear in. I've changed the way in which I do that because I can't invest in a whole bunch of shoes that people probably are not going to come in for. So now it's on a retail, but it's on an order basis only. But what I've done is I've spoken to the retailers and I've fine-tuned how quickly I can get them. And I'm only dealing with the manufacturers that have a quick timeline. So I've just had to, there's some companies that I've just said, right, I'm just not going to deal with you right now because you've not changed how you're helping me to do how I want to operate. And I don't want to tie up my investment for such a long time. So I'm working with the companies that I know that if I order within 3 to 4 weeks or 6 weeks maximum, I have your footwear. So I'm also still providing a service to my customers. And what I've done is because I don't want the cumbersomeness of you paying a deposit on a shoe and then the shoe comes and it doesn't fit and you want your money back. And I go, it's a win-win situation. If I ordered the shoe, I don't order a lot, but I order a style and size and a color and so forth that you want, and I don't order any stock. So if you don't want the shoe and you never come back for it, that becomes my stock. So if someone comes in and they're desperate for a shoe, they have the ability to get it. So that was and that's a new operation style that I've come up with for COVID, because that's not how I operated before COVID. Before COVID, it was a balance of some people can order and some people will just have to, take what else is there. So, I mean, there are lots of other operational things that I've done, like insisted on my staff also being educated on COVID and time where I sit with them and go through it. But, the other thing is our own mental health and our own wellness. So the one thing I have actually done during COVID that I never did before is I go to the gym 3 days a week. And I try not to let anything get in that way. So it means that I've actually changed my operation hours on certain days just so that I can get the gym in. Because if I don't do it, I know it helps me to feel better and be able to deal with all these issues. So that's my outlet. But I think there has to be an outlet for us all. Laughter is the best medicine. And I'm not going to say that that's not something we should be doing. So getting together with your bubble of peers, I think, outside of work also helps to strike that balance back. And when you start talking to some of them and they also have some of the same challenges, sometimes they say something and you kind of feed off of each other and you start realizing, we are all in the same boat, but we can actually help each other as well. And sometimes I look and reflect on the positives of COVID. And for me, I think some of the positives of COVID is it's made me use the media a lot more. I'm on Instagram a lot more than I used to be. And I have found that has been better than Facebook, actually, for most of my patients. And I've also noted that it's made me slow down and change perspective and be a little bit more diverse in what I do. With regards to the protocols and with regards to the data across the world, I try not to get inundated with it. I know a lot of people do, but I just stay relevant with it so that we know what might be coming our way. So, for example, right now we have a pass into Barbados where people can come and stay for a year and they can work for a year. And then we also have where we've opened our borders and people are coming in. And most people the COVID that we have is coming in. It's not where we're here. So in my mind, I'm already saying we have community spread. We don't have official notice saying that we have community spread, but I've started operating as if we have community spread. So it means that I've changed the office. I've removed chairs so that only certain amount of people. I've actually built a bench to be outside the office so that if too many people come, and some people come by bus, so they can't sit in their cars and wait. So I have a bench so they can sit in the cool and wait outside. So, it's just a matter of just being always a step ahead so that you have time to get ready for when the impact actually hits you. With regards to zero. So I was going to say, so with regards to COVID, I would say, although it has changed the way in which I operate, initially it was very heavy on me, but after just looking at the positives and just working through solutions with the negatives, I think that, I've more or less come out, well, balancing myself a little bit.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Simone. We are going to hold the questions until, and I should have told you that before so you can write your questions down. We are going to hold the questions until all the presenters have made their presentations. But it's very interesting that Simone says she's the risk taker. I want to note that over the accountant. Excellent. So I'm going to go on to introduce somebody who's very near and dear to me, has been my mentee for many, many, many years. And if I manage to get out of the screen, I will.
I have to stop sharing my screen as well.
All right. Sure. Yes. Yes. That helps. Oh, no, my screen is acting up. Why? Okay, let me try again. Okay, good. So I'm going to introduce to you our next ladypreneur, Mrs. Shawna Rollins. She's a pastor, a womanpreneur, a woman of vision, faith, and resilience. And we started that program, Woman of Resilience, a few years ago. And every year we have a session on women of resilience. She started her business, Delicious Treats, at 16 years ago, quite by chance, when her boss at the time asked her to prepare 3 flying fish cutters, as she puts it. So I did as he asked, and I was successful in selling all of the sandwiches. In no time, her orders expanded and her sales jumped from 3 to 50 sandwiches each day. Time management became critical for her, and as a single mother at the time, she welcomed this additional income. Customers started to inquire who prepared the sandwiches and made direct deliveries, and she quickly adopted and started to deliver to other businesses. Customers started to inquire who prepared the sandwiches and wanted her to make direct deliveries, and she very quickly started doing so. But something started to happen while working at her job. 90% of the incoming calls were for her business. Of course, you can imagine that is not going to sit very pretty, right? She quickly realized it was time for her to resign, and her entrepreneurial journey began with the birth of Delicious Treats. Mrs. Rollins is a mother of 2 and a mentor for entrepreneurs and young people. She and her family engage in community programs. She hosts a church service and partners with the Caribbean Center of Excellence for Sustainable Livelihoods. She's one of our board members, from entrepreneur mentee to board member, to host an annual Women of Resilience Global Conference series. So without further ado, I'm turning over to Mrs. Rollins to share her experiences with you.
Good morning to everyone, and it's indeed a privilege to be here this morning. Everyone is hearing me clearly? Yes, good. All right. When COVID, where I'm located in the local hospital in Barbados. And when the news, all of us were hearing, and when COVID broke, there was some panic. There was some panic. And I found myself immediately having to calm my team down and like, okay, we're going to weather this storm. We are going to be able to get through this. We open every day, we don't close. And, nerves started setting and, fear came. But after we were able to, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put everything in place. And, after the initial shock, everyone started to settle down. And I had to make up in my mind from that I must make a deliberate attempt to keep my mental sanity. My mental peace of mind was the first thing that was of utmost priority for me. So what I started to do some sessions with entrepreneurs who were hosting other things, even although it may not necessarily be my business or my line that I'm in. I started to join them. I started to listen and hear how the others were coping with COVID, and they were having much more numbers than us in Barbados. Their reality was much more, I think, worse than ours. And yet still we sat, everyone shared, and it hit me. It was like, you know what? If they can find ways to navigate, and if they can find ways to still do business, well, I can find ways to survive too. And one of the ladies in the session said something that I will never forget. She said, yes, COVID is upon us, but now is not the time to relax and say, as entrepreneurs, we are going to wait until it blows over. Don't you ever get caught up in that. And it was a session for women. She said, don't you ever get laid back now and say, oh, we are going to wait until it blows over. Now is the time to strategize. Now is the time to rebrand. Now is the time to make all those changes that you want to have, because we have the time, right? We most definitely have the time. And one of the entrepreneurs in the session said she was supposed to be attending an expo. And obviously, because of COVID, the numbers, nobody could be in close proximity. And you know what she did? She said, I'm going to send out an excerpt, a little video to the potential clients. And that video she sent out landed her a contract with an international franchise during COVID. Then another entrepreneur said she decided to rebrand and just start offering specials and started doing things different. And this other entrepreneur said she made the most sales ever in the months that she's ever made when pre-COVID. So can you imagine that? During COVID, people will say it's the worst. Businesses have closed, income has dropped, cash flow, everything. But listening to other people's experiences, some of them have been able to land international contracts, make the most sales that they've ever made before COVID. So I'm saying all of this to say that during COVID, there's still opportunities. I'm in the process right now of franchising my business. And in back and forth with my consultants said to me, during COVID, this franchises are selling record break. During COVID, they are selling more franchises now than they have ever sold before. And my consultant said to me, opportunity awaits. So it's a shift in the mindset. It is a serious mental shift, honestly. So put aside, after the initial shock, the fear, the anxiety, what came along with it, and you settle down now, there's serious opportunity that awaits us. As long as we make that shift, that mental shift, and see, hey, as the other entrepreneur was saying, Instagram, more on social media, more using more platforms, because I myself yes, I am on Instagram, but I never used it that much. But then my consultants, sent up this some change and say, hey, post this, send this. So opportunity awaits us, all of us. And change is the situation is constantly evolving. Next week, it might be something different. Next month, it might be something different. But as long as we realize this is what it is, and this is what is happening, all of us will be able to navigate through COVID. And COVID is not here to stay. It's not here forever. It's just here for a time and a season. And when COVID is over, it will be something else. So for me, I have chosen to keep my suppliers, my I had to change up payment plans with my suppliers because cash flow has been, a little strained, and that's fine. So what I've done, I've changed up my payment plan with my suppliers, and that is working. Even my bankers have been extremely. I must say, I think, I honestly think, God has really favored me. My bankers are really working with me, to be quite honest. I cannot say during COVID that they have been harsh. Um, they are working with me, they're calling me, and we communicate to make sure when I write my checks, everything is flowing. So my my team members, I had to shift up pay instead of weekly, bi-weekly. I explained to everyone, and everyone is on board because it is changing. All of us have come to the realization that, you know what, we should be thankful that we have an income because some people don't have any income. So it's like, we don't complain. We get up every day and we say, Father, we thank you for today. Today's another day. We don't know what it will hold, but we put this day before you because it's one common thread between all of us as
Zero up again.
one common thread between all of us as entrepreneurs is we have to get up every single day. And this is nothing to do with COVID. We have to get up every single day and look for our daily bread.
Okay,
It
Mrs.
just doesn't,
Rollins.
it,
Your time has run out, and we gave you a few minutes over. But
yes, thank
questions
you.
will come, and so you'll get some time to expand on that. Thank you so very, very much for that.
You're welcome. Mhm,
We'll introduce the next speaker,
mhm.
Miss Sheena Rose. Sheena Rose is a Fulbright scholar who received her MFA at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro in 2016, and a BFA honors degree from the Barbados Community College in 2008. She has grown as a renowned artist with her multidisciplinary practice of drawings, paintings, hand-drawn animations, performance art, and new media. She has attended international residencies, shown in art fairs, film festivals, and auctions, such as Prim's Art Fair, Third Horizon Film Festival, and Rush Philanthropic Arts Foundation auction, Art for Life. Sheena's artwork can be found on several book covers, and she's been featured in numerous magazines, newspapers, and websites, such as Vogue, Huffington Post, New York Times, WeTransfer, and Travel and Leisure, just to name a few. In 2019, Sheena created a two-story mural at the IDB headquarters in Washington, D.C., among other murals and projects. In 2020, she was named the recipient of the School of Arts Distinguished Alumni Award at her alma mater, the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. She resides and works in Barbados, and she's known for her art presence on social media. Now, since I have no idea what new art is and new media, I am looking forward very much to this presentation. Over to you, Ms. Rose.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Thank you and good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed the other two presentations, and here I am. I see Mikhail Solomon there, bigging me up, waving at me, waving at everybody right now. If I can't see you, I'm going to start at the end and then go at the beginning. So let me big up Mikhail Solomon for bigging me up on Artsy platform because she have wrote a list of artists in her radar, and I am one of them. So Artsy is a big I curse, so let me cool down. It's a baby platform, and Mikhail Solomon is the founder of Prism Art Fair, which I will be in this year. Whoop whoop. So I started off good. Now let's rewind. 2019, everything was a blast. Everything was in Vogue magazine, Getty Images, Pam doing the large mural, blah, 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 blah. 2020. So it may have sound like though I like bragging and stuff like that. No. I bragging from the beginning because this is 2020 now. 2019 was a blast. And then after a while during 2019, I was getting sick. In 2016, my eyes first started swelling up. And then as the time go by, my face would swell up. I wouldn't get joint pains, but people assumed, the doctors were wondering if it's allergies. And then in 2020, it confirmed that I have lupus. So I found out that I have lupus in February, right before COVID. Was I sad? Not really, because I was relieved. Because when I didn't know I had lupus, my throat was actually tightening. I felt like if I was dying. I wasn't sure what was going on. And one of my best friends told me I should check out my eye, because that time my face was swollen. I had given up. To find out it was a ringworm on my eyelid. And then later on, the dermatologist went into it, Dr. Shawna Rollins. And then to find out with all the blood tests, I have lupus. So my doctor now is Dr. Cindy Flower, but also I got big up Dr. Hilary Moore and many other doctors. If I cannot remember your name, and when you see this, I appreciate everything you have done. Right after that, a few days later, I was held gunpoint. I had a life and death situation. I had to figure out how to get out of that situation. I reversed the car, drew his face, and get caught. Ding, artist. So we had a lockdown. As an artist, I tried not to be the typical starving artist. It was very hard. It was very scary to know that I in the category of high risk, and I was panicking. Lucky for me, I had money before from clients, but therefore the money couldn't last that long. I had to say, hey, don't forget me. And they're like, Sheena, where you pop up from, Because sometimes I tend to get a little bit lazy and relax about the money, because they say, all right, if anything happened, it will come. The money had to come for sure. The problem with lupus, just to explain for those who don't know, lupus is attack the body. It's confused. It doesn't know what's right, what's wrong, what's good or bad. It just attack. And I thank God that I have found out this diagnosis before COVID, because I'm not sure if it will be living or I will be struggling to understand what's going on with my body and fighting. But thankfully, I have found out few days or weeks before it. With my career now, during this time, I'm still amazed and surprised how it's still going. However, I always use the Instagram. I always use the social media before COVID. I was like the social queen. Even though you may not see the K underneath my numbers, whenever I had articles written about me, they usually have like 20,000 readers in one day or something like that. So my stuff usually go viral. I started a company right before COVID in September, the day before my birthday. So we actually celebrated the 1-year anniversary of Sheena Rose Inc. When it was my birthday, I celebrated like if it was the last day of my life, because to see that you live to see your birthday is like a celebration and it's like a congratulation. I just turned 35. I started art professionally at 22 and now I'm 35. I had to show people, prove people that you can become an international contemporary, international artist out there living based in the Caribbean, from the Caribbean and based in the Caribbean. I have to thank my family, my friends, and everyone that believe in me. Now, when it comes to surviving or being an artist or art business person, my suggestion or my advice is to be visible. Everyone is now on social media. Everyone is taking advantage of it. Everyone is staring at it. Everyone is trying to keep their mind occupied. This is the time now to promote. This is the time now to be visible. You do not have to be low. You do not have to be out there in your face, but be visible. So also create content. That's the next thing. You must have followers. When I say you must have, when you have followers, you must have some sort of content rather than just selfies. Look in a mirror. If you want to see a selfie, look in a mirror. It could become a little bit obnoxious to me, a little bit narcissism. So it's okay and cool and all with the filters, but add some content to it. Carry us to a story, create something. Then also you have a product. What is my product? I use myself as a product, as a brand, but also I have drawings, paintings. I haven't done animation for quite some time. I also made this wig. Another thing, if you want to be visible, also a senator. People know me as being spontaneous, bubbly, sometimes a rebel. And I'm not saying you have to be like a rebel and break the rules, but also you could be clever with it. So also I will be doing a presentation for the US Embassy. Everyone know I behave bad, but at the same time, you know how to present yourself. Yes, I am a Fulbrighter and I feel very honored about that. But also I express myself as an artist. I say what I gotta say. I express what I gotta say. Sometimes it can be political. Most time it can be political. Now, when I say political, I not mean against the government. I not mean against any sort of system. Just you alone existing is political. So I am a Black woman from Barbados in the Caribbean that expressing about what's going on in our history, what's going on in our contemporary, what's going on in our time. Now, to connect with COVID, how I cope with it, just being an artist, I meditated. I start reading. I become a bookworm. I actually read probably up to 16 to 20 books this year. I'm usually a slow reader. I taught myself how to speed read. I start to research. I start to write a lot. I'm considering to write a book. Perhaps I didn't even name it yet. Maybe I got copyrighted, but I'm thinking to call it Lulu is Lost. Lulu is short for lupus because many nights and many days I have flare-ups, I have attacks because of anxiety, but just the nature of the immune disease. So today I'm going to meet a client to get money to pay people that work with me. Therefore, the photographer, the assistants, the personal assistants, the studio assistant, the graphic designers. There is a team behind me. It's not just me. Then also like how Mikhail Solomon wrote about me, I have many other articles coming about, which is great advertisement, which is great way of building a good reputation. And also with art, the value go up. So when you buy a Sheena Rose, if it was $100 or 100 US, few years ago, right now it's like 1,000 US, 10,000 US, 100,000 US, the value go up. So at this moment, how I'm talking to persons here, trying to listen about business, art business, and medical and inspirational quotes, I too would like to become more and more a motivational speaker, talking about art businesses, but also would like to talk more about autoimmune diseases and the category of perhaps becoming disabled as well. The lupus can get so bad that you could become in the category of disability. So with my art, I was known for my drawings, my paintings, like cityscapes, performances. But my work is becoming a little bit more bizarre because the books that I've been reading have given me permission to let it go some more. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I've been listening to the news. I've been talking to students on webinars and Zoom to inspire them to read. It is not just picking up a pencil or a pen and to draw. It's your thoughts and your emotions that's coming out. So usually I inspired or inform people or give them permission to let it go. This morning I did a video. You also have to think of appropriation. I felt a little bit nervous, wondering if I have insulted the a certain tribe, but at the same time, I tried to listen to see if I had a particular words or anything that I wouldn't offend. So therefore, you have to research. So I've been doing meditation. I've been reading about Buddhism. So if anything happened, you have a backup to say I've been researching. So it's not just picking up again a pen and paper and let me do graffiti. It's also about research. It's also who you can relate to and who you're talking to. I have major projects coming up, public art coming up. Just this week, I found out that one of the projects were canceled. I felt bad. Did I cry? No, because there will be many more that will be coming. One door shut, the windows, the roof blow off. You understand? More opportunities come. You will cry about it? No, build a bigger house. I also found out that I will be losing my studio. I had this beautiful studio for 1 to 3 years, thanks to the Clark family. Now it's time to grow and move on. Did I cry? Yeah. Do I have to find container? Maybe. But I also still researching to find out if it's still possible to find another beautiful space to continue growing. Do I feel sad some nights? Yeah. Do I want to share a live in another country? Yeah. But my heart still feels as though I should be here to prove that you can be somebody, you can become successful in the Caribbean. So I'm not sure the zero pop up, but I tell you I had the zero pop up yet. Yeah? No? Maybe so? Yes? Perfect timing. Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I thank you for that very passionate presentation, and I also admire the fact that you're dealing as a person who has just recently learned of this. I think recently, right? You're dealing with it quite well. I have a few people who I know are living with it, and you know, it's a struggle. So it's good that you are upbeat about it, number one, and that you're looking after yourself, number two, and that you are also finding people who you can have support from. That's also very important. I want to say that I really admire the fact this has shown me how far we have come as entrepreneurs in general, but also as ladypreneurs. Every single ladypreneur has emphasized profit. Let me tell you, a few years ago, this was not the case. Women were in business to do good. And they wouldn't talk about money. And it wasn't just women, it was entrepreneurs in general, you know. So this for me is really, really important. It also shows how much we have grown in the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the Caribbean, and certainly in Barbados. So I want to again thank you all for your presentations. We want to do a poll now. Is that true, Cheryl? Yes, we want to.
Yes,
we want to conduct a poll, and we'd like you to complete this poll for us before we go into the discussions. Very easy to do, I think. And I'm gonna call on Cheryl once it's completed to tell us what the response is.
Okay, I say we take another 15 seconds for people to submit their answers. Five, four, three, two, one. So we have 8% of our group who says, what's your experience with entrepreneurship, and who, me? We have 8% that says that their entrepreneurship is at a side gig status. And we have 85%, so by far the majority, who look in the mirror and see their own boss.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice. Very, very good. And also quite a change we're seeing in mindset and in practicality as well. That's great, ladies. So we want to throw the floor open right now to any questions. We're gonna ask you to. Is there something happening here? I am not sure.
I might have done something by mistake.
Huh? We're gonna throw the floor open. I'll leave that to the techies to correct. And ask all the ladies who have all the burning questions for these three ladypreneurs, or you have suggestions, or you have your own experiences, whatever. It's a very passionate discussion right now, in the next few minutes we have. And anyone can start. You can put your camera on, and or not put your camera on, but you can certainly put your mic on.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so because I know Sheena well, and we're both in the arts industry, I guess I would like Sheena to talk a little bit about like some of the additional projects that she's working on, maybe that runs tangential to her artistic practice, but also, you know, maybe like some of the upcoming exhibitions as well that she might have, as well as we were just talking earlier about another project that she's been working on. So I'd love to ask you to expound or elaborate on that.
Okay. So it's so funny. The bigger you become, not to sound braggy again, the more secretive you gotta become. So some projects I cannot reveal specifically like that, but there is a major project that I'm one of the artists that gets selected, but I cannot reveal because of their contracts. So that's one I'm hoping that would not cancel. There's one that oh Lord, you got me in a position because some of these are very confidential, you know? So like I gonna be featured in a major magazines. Again, I can't reveal, you know. Miguel, where you put me in that spot it is? There's a lot that I cannot reveal. So I don't know how to say it. But I know I got Prism Art Fair. That one can I review that, Miguel? I don't know, Miguel. Most of these projects I cannot review at the moment because some of them are dealing with contracts, some of them is promo, some of them are celebrities. You understand? So like the Empire, just to give you an example, I had no new Empire for 2 years. And I had to hold that in for 2 years. Let me see what else is happening. I can't review any at the moment, to be honest. I'm sorry.
Did you just say Empire?
Yeah.
Is that Empire the movie or Empire something else?
Empire the TV show.
You mean with Hakeem and Lucius?
Yeah, like I knew, like Vogue. I knew Vogue was going to happen in like last year for 6 months. I had to hold it in. So like the thing is, it's like I can't really explain. You know what I mean? So like my life is becoming more and more private. Let's put it that way. All I can say is I would like to. I told Mikhail this morning I should do a wig outline because I did this wig. You know, I thinking to create a book. I opening up a second company. Thank you. I opened up a second company that I would love to call Lulu, or another name talking about self-care and so on. But I'm sorry, Mikhail, I can't really review any right now. You got me sweating.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope you got some answers. Any other ladies want to jump in, or males? I know I see at least one male with us this morning. He for she, thank you.
Good morning. This message is for Shawna. Did you ever experience any failures? And if so, what did you learn from your failures?
Yes, failure is a part of the process of being a successful entrepreneur. Of course, when I first started, I remembered I used to supply most of the gas stations in the island with my sandwiches. And I remember taking samples to, to get in because you're now starting and you're now trying to build a customer base. So I remember situations where I had to drop my price to try to just get in. But now, for sure, I wouldn't do that. But when you're now breaking ground and you're trying to get your name out there, you do some things. I also remembered where some of the places where I supplied wanted to pay me one check at the ending of the month. And these are 24-hour places that I have to deliver to. And then when the check is ready, when the ending of the month comes, the check is incorrect. And I don't know if Dr. Brandon can remember this, But I called her on this one. One of the places I was supplying at is a big reputable company. And I remember discussing it with her before I made the decision to call and tell them that Delicious Treats will no longer be delivering. So, yes, I've made some mistakes and I've learned from those mistakes. Oh, yes. Never drop your price. Don't drop your price. Know your worth, know your value. Don't drop it. Take it or leave it. But don't you drop it. Know your worth and know your value. That is what I would say to young entrepreneurs coming up now. Don't you drop that price. Because when you leave it and you say no, God will open another door and someone will take it and know your worth and value. So yeah, I've made mistakes.
Thank you.
Thank you for those responses. I'm unmuting and not unmuting. Any other questions we have? And would any of the We Will directors want to ask some questions as well? Please feel free to jump in and ask your questions. I want to ask a question that I think all three persons could respond to. I really want to hear this. During COVID, are you seeing, and this is one, Cheryl, I'm asking one of your questions because I really like this one. Is there any way you would suggest, what are some of the ways you would suggest to new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs already in this system finding new business opportunities that are viable during COVID or within the COVID landscape, whatever that is looking like?
What's the question?
Repeat it again, Dr. Brandon. Repeat it again, please.
Are there any opportunities that you're seeing that you would recommend entrepreneurs, suggest to entrepreneurs to use those as stepping stones to start their own businesses, or even to pivot, as they're calling it, change into different things if they need to? Are there any opportunities within the COVID landscape that you would suggest to entrepreneurs to try to make their own sustainable livelihoods?
Yes, there is. I mean, for me, I see all these ideas, but I can only do certain things. So with right now, homeschooling and schooling and parents trying to balance their children within various age ranges with doing homework and doing school and doing, I think being able to be an aid to those people would be a good way to make some money right now. And finding all the problems that people are having right now in COVID, and you be the solution. So people having older parents maybe that have to get from doctor's appointments or whatever, and then they have children that they're balancing and supermarkets that they're balancing and so forth. So messenger services, but also making a safe environment, because this is COVID. So, you have to create some form of safe environment where, I'm only doing 2 people or I'm only doing X people within that time, but you're doing the whole parish of one area that you're doing on one day or in one morning and another evening, another in the afternoon, and you organize yourself that way. But I would say at this point, look for all the issues that people are complaining about in COVID, and you be the solution. That was one thing. And then I had another comment, which was integrity, honesty, and hard work. There's nothing that gets beyond that. Everyone that has spoken, Sheena, Shawna, there's passion behind what you're doing, so it becomes easy, right? So find something you also love, because if you're loving it, it's not actually work. I actually hire staff to stop me. If not, patients will call and I'll always say yes. So if they're not in place to put guardrails for myself, I then get burnt out. So it's a matter of just being honest, always being honest, and how Shawna dealt with that was actually just showing that she's got integrity. I do a job for you, you pay me, and it's a mutual thing. Past that, sorry, can't do it anymore. And that's something else I also learned during COVID, to say no. I never used to be able to say no before, but now I've learned to go, sorry, can't do that right now. I can do that then, you know, because with COVID, my patient times are longer. So I can't have 15-minute or 20-minute, I have 30 minutes. But you'll have patients who used to call me. If they call the office to get an appointment and they can't get in, they call me because they know me and they go, can you get me an appointment? Can you get me in? You know, can you? And now I'm like, sorry, no. It just like, there's just no, this is the box. These are my protocols. This is my criteria. And I'm not breaking it just for money. But you know what? Most of those people, they wait, you know? So I'm just saying, those are just some of the comments that I just wanted to share.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, integrity and honesty and hard work, key things. And I love that. I normally say find opportunities where everybody else see problems and be a solutionist. But I also love the term problem broker, which I got from you. Just be a problem broker. Be a solutionist. Do you want to say anything, Shawna, Sheena?
Yeah,
Shawna
yes,
and
yes,
Sheena, twins,
yes.
right?
But now because of COVID, I think everyone is paying much more attention to their health and what they're eating, and the health drinks, opportunities in health. There's so many opportunities out there. People now are the juicing, the juice drinks, boosting the immune system, the turmeric and the gingers. Because when I juice, I put those in my drinks. Yeah, most definitely health wise, what you eat, put in those health juices, opportunities, and you don't need to rent a space. You don't need to remember when I started my business, Dr. Brandon, I was on my 2 feet. I would go to various places. So you don't have to pay rent, because right now people are even coming out of rental spaces. So you can hit the streets and you can go to business places, but definitely boosting your immune system, the health drinks, opportunity, because at the end of the day, all of us want to preserve our health and our lives. So people are going to spend on themselves. They're definitely going to spend.
Literally, your health is your wealth.
Yeah.
So
without it, we can do nothing.
Health,
yeah. Without it, we can do nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you, Miss Rose?
Dr. McConnie just said something there that not triggering about it, like reminded me of something. When she said you have to do this, you have to do that to show your rules, your laws, your integrity, and so on. What I was also thinking, because this is a female or women's group, I noticed that we haven't talked about the extra work we have to put in as females. And when she just said that, I was like, yes, talking about the rules, but then also the rule of being a woman boss or this entrepreneur. I see Shawna there nodding. Yes, because there is this B word that come along with women when they become assertive. And I've been read like that for years. Oh, she's a B. She's a B. Oh my God, she's a B. But they're not being into a boss, though. You understand? Because I find that, as I mentioned, there's a point that you have to behave this way, behave that way when you're in certain places. However, there's a point when I see people feel they can walk over me. Nah, turn out being into a bad fit. You understand? Because I gotta switch it and say no. So when I have my team and I see people want to rip me off or want to devalue my work or want to argue with me, they had somebody that tell me, Sheena, I got my rights. I got my rights. You didn't put this in your invoice. I said, let me call my lawyer. Frighten the person. Because they probably thought, oh, you're an artist. She's just on an easel all day. It's like, no. You're dealing with a brand name here. You're dealing with a value here. You're dealing with somebody that building up something for years now. You're not approaching just a starving artist. You're dealing with a team behind me. So that's another thing that also, like, I see some questions there. So I think Dr. Brandon will bring them up. But that was one thing that Miss McConnie just mentioned. Just know there, Simone McConnie, that said, we gotta work extra hard as females. There might be a male here that argues saying, I don't think so, or yes. But that's one thing I noticed, that have to work extra hard as who we are too, you know? Any comments on that, anybody?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I do nothing now without my attorney. I don't rush into anything now. Anything. It will wait till whenever my attorney reads through it. I do nothing. He said, do not sign anything. Send it to me. And then what changes need to be made, if it needs to be edited, then. But I don't rush into anything now for money. Entrepreneurs, we need an attorney. We need an attorney to call that you know that you can trust to make wise decisions, because people will try to rob you and trick you and pay you whatever they want. So having an attorney is critical, it's crucial to protect you as well as an entrepreneur, to make sure you don't end up finding yourself having to pay out or lawsuit or whatever. But yes, if you don't have one, please, we all need attorneys before we make any major decisions. Yes.
I totally agree. Thank you for those responses, and such a good discussion as well. We have some questions in the chat, and there's one from Shireen Cuthbert, and she's wondering how today's featured entrepreneurs decided to dive into their businesses full time. Did you hear that question?
Say it again.
She's wondering how you ladypreneurs decided to dive into your business full time. So I suspect all three of you can respond.
How you dive into it full time? I get fired from a job one day, and I'm like, okay, all right, sure. I was planning to leave the job anyway, but they must be embarrassed right now, right? Because what happened? I was there teaching, and then I didn't get no sort of warning whatsoever saying, well, Sheena, you are leaving. And funny enough, the same day, Inter-American Development Bank came to me. The same day. And with lots more money than what I was making before. And I'm like, okay. So behind the scenes, as when Mikhail had asked me what's the project, that was a project that Mikhail would know. I feel my close friends would know behind the scenes. You know, people sometimes I would disappear. They say, oh, Sheena must be sad or somewhere. No, I behind the scenes working on the project. And what happened, IDB have opened up more doors, and the more projects you get, especially when there's good ones or good reputation, the more doors open up. Some days I am super broke, but then all of a sudden there's a miracle, there's a client that there, and so on. However, they don't pop up just so. That come from work. Oh, constantly working every day. And it's not like, I not mean physical, like your work, but also working on yourself. Again, not burning out, you know, having a team, you know, reading, writing, all this stuff is also work as well. There's also the point of not feeling guilty, because sometimes I used to feel funny when I see people going to 9-to-5 jobs. I used to feel weird. People say, oh, what you doing? I like, I'm an artist. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, I have a company. They're like, oh, I show around the world. Oh, yeah, I show in this place. Oh, yeah, I got big projects coming up, but I can't reveal that, Mikhail. Mikhail, just kidding. Oh, so it's like at first you start small, and then it keep growing and growing and growing. So me as a full-time entrepreneur, lady entrepreneur, I would just tell you, it is scary. It is scary to start. It's scary along the way, and it's scary as you carry on. But it is also fun. It's also fun discovering things. It's also good seeing yourself growing. So I would encourage anyone to start a business.
Awesome. Thank you. Next, please.
Okay, well, for me, my transition was a good one in the sense that I worked for someone, then I started a business, and it type of pushed me into starting a business because customers kept coming for the product. So I would say to you from a financial point of view, if you have a job now and you want to look at going into business, let it be a smooth transition. Honestly, I don't want you to lose income and then go into business because it takes time to build up clientele. It really does. So hold on to your income, but gradually start your business. And then as you build up clientele and you have clients and consistent amount of business coming in, then you could make the transition. And that is what happened to me. I could have easily made a transition because I had money coming in each month. So I'm not going to tell you jump off, then how are you going to survive? How are you going to pay your bills each month? No, 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 no. It's a process. You start the business, you start building that clientele, and as soon as you start to see X amount every month, then you can say, hey, yeah, it's time to leave. Yes.
Mine was also similar. I came back ready to work at the hospital. I saw nothing less than that because I was one of the first. Well, I was the first podiatrist back in Barbados. But the environment was very toxic, is all I can say. I was a small woman. Nothing I said was right. I would say I've had surgeons pull me aside and said very nasty things to me. And I actually then eventually took this all on. I got very ill. I was actually diagnosed back then with having a condition that, I almost didn't even get married because I told my husband, well, no way, I'm not going to get married. But then and it was all because of stress. And I eventually did exactly what I used to work very long hours. I worked 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. I worked 6 till 12 at the hospital. So I got in all 6 till 1. So I got in my hours. So no one can say that I have no right going and running a practice on the side. And then I left when I left the hospital at 2 or that kind of time, I then went into my office from like 3 till 4, or 3 till 5, till 3 till 7. And I built up my practice over a period of time. And then when I got busy enough, I resigned from the hospital. At the time of leaving, I was there for 3 years. And at the time of leaving, I was told that I shouldn't leave, things were going to get better. And this is actually 20 years now that I have left the hospital and nothing has changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. And I'm the only podiatrist that worked at the QEH, and no podiatrist has gone there since because most of them said, well, if you were AAA and you couldn't survive, but I'm nowhere near like you. So they never got there. And when it comes to medicine in Barbados, it's definitely not female centric. It's very chauvinistic. It's definitely all boys school, all boys club. And it has been quite a battle. But over the years, I have done things like fight a battle, go blazing guns, and then retract, breathe, and then go again. So I'm about to go again next month, actually. So Sheena has just given me some ideas. So my thing is not to get so, I'm a woman, I can't get this done. What Sheena also said, something else is women together are not usually sharing of their challenges. So there's a question about that where you talk about being part of other groups of female, what kind of challenges. We don't tend to talk about all the challenges. We try to go, oh, I'm better than you, and I'm better than you, and I'm better than you. Those are nice shoes. That's a really nice outfit you're wearing. Or where did you get that? Like, those nails done. And we don't talk about the real issues. And I actually feel that that's our next step as women, is to get those real issues out and just push each other up. So, you know, when you step out, you just keep saying, well, you know, and I'm no longer afraid. So what Sheena said, like, when someone tells me, oh, you're so bossy and you're so bitchy and you're so whatever, I say, I'm passionate about what I do. I think you're misunderstanding me. I'm just passionate. If a man stood up here and said the exact same words I said, you wouldn't be telling him so. You would tell him he's so great and he's so awesome. So I now have gotten to a point in my life where you don't wash, cotton, or clean at me. And I pay my taxes. So, you know, if you want to send the IRS after me, that's fine. Because some people don't speak up because of that. But my thing is, we have to say it. We have to actually say it. And we have to just say it. Yes, have your lawyers. But if you're speaking the truth and you're working hard and you have the integrity behind you, no one can shoot you down.
I agree. Okay, great. Thank you for that. We're running a little behind schedule, but I also want to find out from both Shawna and Sheena whether or not they're working. There's a question here from Listra, and I think Simone, you responded to it. But just for you two, what is the biggest challenge in working with other women's group if you're working with them? Are you working with any women's group? And if so, what's the biggest challenges you've come across?
What I find with a lot of women, they don't know their worth and their value. They're talented, they're brilliant, they're skilled, but they don't, I don't know, they don't push themselves and know that they could achieve so much. They allow situations and circumstances to type of keep them back when they have all the tools and the skills necessary right there to go to another level. And I have to be constantly reinforcing, you know, saying, come on, you know, you could do this. Come on, you know, you could, come on. And sometimes they're the most brilliant, honestly. Sometimes they're the most brilliant, but sometimes childhood and certain things, they get stuck and stay there too long.
Thank you.
For me, it's the opposite. I know I have mentioned my friend here named all the time, but she actually took me out of a depression. She's here doing her thing, and she visited Barbados, and I was depressed, and she told me, you're actually closer to what you want in your life. And there she is, one of my friends, and she's a female. And I have many, 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 many female friends. I was actually one that Shawna mentioned there, that didn't believe in myself, that thought I was ugly. I hated myself. I thought I was dumb. I still cannot believe I have accomplished all of this. I still cannot believe that I have a Fulbright. I still cannot believe I have a company and then maybe a second one. So I actually have the opposite. I went to all girls school, Spring Memorial School, and it had a bad rap that time as girls being ratty, slutty. So therefore, yes, I agree with Shawna that we had this pressure of, oh, she's a slut, oh, she's this, oh, she that. She's not going to be somebody. I don't know if it's the atmosphere, unfortunately. I don't know if it's classism. I don't know if it's the social media. I don't know if it's the media that causes us to think that way. So I do agree. But from my experience so far as a young adult, as an adult now, that all of my female friends have been very encouraging, have been taught me to wear what I'm wearing right now. I got 2 fake nose rings. My nose not pierced, but I decided to just put them on for this year. You know, they have given me permission to express how I say, to move forward. You know, I do say many times, I don't want children. I don't want this. I don't want marriage. But I never stop them from doing what they want in their own dreams either. So for me, I am happy to see even this here, all women coming together, encouraging each other. You know, the people that you relate to or associate with are your friends, are your mirror. So when those strong women came to me and told me I am beautiful, they are beautiful too. So I must thank those women, my mom, my family, my friends, and even strangers come and tell me you're strong, you're beautiful, you can do it. So that's I will agree with Shawna to some degree, but from my own experience, it was mostly women that pushed me. I was actually one of those women there.
Thank you so much. Beautiful affirmation to hand over to Cheryl on. We are beautiful. Just look at us. As women, we are beautiful and we can do what we want to do. I want to thank you so much, and I'm handing over to Cheryl, who is We Will's, we cannot do without her. She's joining us from Germany, and I don't know what time it is there, but what time is it, Cheryl?
It's not too late. It's 5:30.
Oh,
It's
5:30.
5:30. So Cheryl is in Germany doing her master's degree in environmental governance, and I'll ask her to do the wrap up for us.
Great. Thank you so much to all of you, to the speakers, to Dr. Simone McConnie, Shawna Rollins, Sheena Rose, to Dr. Marcia Brandon for moderating all of this, and everyone who spent some of their Saturday with us today. I almost feel like I want to cry once we sign off this. But yeah, I really appreciate all of you taking some time and sharing that with us. I took note of, I took a lot of notes, but I took notes of a few key takeaways from the session. I'm sure everyone has their own takeaways, but what I heard repeated from the three speakers was the importance of diversifying your offerings. Like, this is a time to get creative, to strategize, rebrand, to do research into other opportunities within your own field or stepping outside of it. As Shawna said, opportunity awaits us. Looking at social media, looking at technology in general, if we're looking at like the banking sector, how you're doing your payments, looking at how to be visible, as Sheena told us, making content, telling a story. That's very important. We talked about keeping a vibrant network, be that with family members, friends, our girlfriends, a professional network, being in a place where we're giving back to the community, where we're, with our network, we're finding inspiration there, a place to laugh, a place to support other business owners. I know Dr. Simone was talking about how she would offer masks for that her colleagues would be making. She'd offer them in her office. So those kinds of things can go a long way. And then for my biggest takeaway, at least from this, was the importance of health and taking care of ourselves, be that maintaining a schedule to make sure we're moving around, taking time to do research, writing, be it for something more introspective or to see what's going on in other places, how they're adapting through meditation, gratitude, and overall knowing your worth, holding to that and surrounding yourself with good people. So with that, if anyone would like to share a word that you think might epitomize the conversation today, you can feel free to add that in the chat. My word for the conversation today would be worth. And I also wanted to take this opportunity to plug that this is the first event for the Caribbean Entrepreneurship Week. You'll be receiving more information over email, and the main conference is Wednesday, 28th at 9 a.m. It's coming Wednesday. There's another at Thursday at 9 a.m. and the whole week is filled with different events. You can find more information on the Facebook page for COESL and the Global Entrepreneurship Network. So you'll be receiving that over email. And thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in future webinars or out in social media.
Thank you, Cheryl. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a great day and weekend.